Hi, this is Lucky Robin, and I am canning green beans today. And this is the easiest way I've found to do it. I do sit at the table and cut it off sometimes with a knife, but after a while my back just really starts to hurt. So having it in the comfy chair when you're doing 25 pounds at a time is much easier. And so I have my beans here, and I have a place for the waste and then for the ones that I've clipped, and I just start clipping off either end, and then once I get through all of these beans, then I will go through and I will snap them all. So we'll come back when we get to that point. One of the things I forgot to say about my setup is that I have this bowl down lower because if you're doing it up here like you would be at a table, it's going to put a lot of stress on your mid back, and that causes a lot of pain. But if you do it lower than you, you're not going to have that pull through your middle back. So that's why I have this set up down here. And then also you want to make sure that if you're doing this with scissors that you start with very sharp scissors, and you may very well have to sharpen them partway through. So having a scissor sharpener on hand is also a good idea, because they will dull on the green beans.
Okay.
Alright, so I've got all the ends snipped off now, so all I need to do is to break these into pieces. You can do 2-inch or 1-inch pieces. They just need to be relatively consistent. So if you're going with 1-inch, they need to all be around 1-inch. If you're going with 2-inch, they need to all be around 2-inch. That's just what you prefer. If you do 1-inch pieces, you can fit more in the jar, but we tend to like them to more be around the 2-inch mark. So like that until you get through them. Alright, so for canning you're going to need your hot boiling water, something to measure it out in, canning funnel, your wet rag for wiping the rims, your jar lifter, hot sterilized jars, your debubbler. I actually found my debubbler, canning salt, green beans, your magnet, and your scalded lids. Alright, so put your funnel in your jar and put your green beans in. You can use a ladle here if you want to, but green beans aren't icky on your hands, so I just find it easier to use my fingers. And you want to make sure you get them packed in there really well. When you get to the top, try to fill in any spaces that there are. Okay, and I keep the beans down under the rim. Put in your teaspoon of canning salt. Fill your jar up with the boiling water. You're going to want that inch of headspace, and take your debubbler and go down the sides to release the air bubbles. And just like with tomatoes, there's going to be a lot of air bubbles in your green beans. Okay, push your green beans back under the water. And then if you need to add a little more water to get it back up to the inch. I've been doing this long enough that I know basically where an inch is, but with the debubbler, this is 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch to you in there, and that would be how you would tell if you've not done it. Okay, take your rag, go over your rim. Get one of your scalded lids out of the hot water, put it on your jar, put it on your ring, and take your jar lifter and take your jar over to your canner. Alright, this is a double canner, so I'm doing 2 racks today. I'll be doing a total of 14 jars. Alright, I did not have quite enough to fill the canner. I'm one short, so I put a towel in the middle, and that will keep the jars from clinking against each other or falling over while the canning process is going on, because the pressure canning can make them rattle around. So we're matching up the arrow with the indentation. And tightening the clamps diagonally. Okay, let me turn. It's gonna flare again. Alright, there we go. Turn it up to high, and we'll come back when that's venting. Alright, we've got a steady vent of steam coming out, so now we need to time that for 10 minutes. Alright, it's done venting for 10 minutes, so we put the 10-pound weight on and wait for it to come up to pressure. Alright, it's at 10 pounds of pressure, so now we put the timer for 25 minutes. Let's see if I can do this without burning myself. Alright, pressure's down. Time to undo the clamps if I can. Sometimes they get too tight for me. Ugh. And they can be a little hot. So on the diagonal. They're not as hot as I thought. Alright, and then lift it on the handle is lift up and away, let the steam out. Get our jar lifter and start taking our jars out. I got a lot of floaters. Get them packed as tightly as I should have. Alright, I'll come back when I'm done. Alright, there we go. 13 jars of green beans.